righty. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now the time that you all have been waiting for. Introducing your HBCU auntie. First, we have Mia, and then we have Tyon. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey. Welcome everybody to the Real University, where we have a space dedicated for moms, dads, teenagers, college students, everyone who is experiencing college life. We're just here to try to make things a little bit easier, have a real conversation, make it seem like it's something that happens to everyone, because it does. And this week, we decided to jump into the world of extracurricular activities, student activities, whatever you call them on your campus. There's so many things to get involved with inside of the collegiate space, outside of the academia portion. And as usual, Tyon and I have two different experiences. And so we're here to share, open, explore all the great things that come with that part of the collegiate experience. So I'm going to let Tyon go first, because her life was totally different than mine while at school.
But thinking about that, and the reason why you say that our experiences were totally different is because you were a commuter student. I was pretty much one of those that literally lived on campus my whole entire 4 years. Mm-hmm. But life is a little different for commuter students. But what we want to do is we don't want to discourage you from, joining extracurricular activities, be it, being a student athlete, be it an academic related type of club or organization. Of course, your Greek letter organizations as well. But there's also so many other things in campus to get involved with that we don't really think about and are not promoted so much with your normal campus life. For example, like getting involved or even quote unquote extracurricular activities outside of the NCAA type sports types of things, there's intramural sports. That's another way to kind of blow off some steam a lot of the times and actually meet some people. If you were a former athlete in your previous life before coming to college, but you just didn't want to do that in college, those intramurals kind of open up that world for you and help keep you active. Another thing that we don't think about is getting involved in your residence hall. Like the residence halls actually have step teams. They have their own kind of like boards and councils to make sure that everything is kind of running really, really well in the residence halls. Your academic clubs. I was a member of the marketing society, and I want to stress actually academic clubs, because those are the ones that truly test and give you that springboard for all of your leadership capabilities. That and student government. But again, student government is not for everybody, but your individual clubs. I was a member of the marketing society. There's the Young Engineers. There's the Society of Black Engineers.
FBLA.
Yep. So depending on what your and those are kind of also segues into joining professional organizations. Me being in the marketing society allowed me to join the American Marketing Association as a student and also get, the discounted membership. And actually, one fun fact, my cohort of our marketing society was the first to actually travel out of state to an AMA conference, and we were the first HBCU to attend an AMA conference.
Go ahead, Morgan.
Now, let me tell you though. Again, it came with that HBCU baggage, because we were not in the most luxurious accommodations, but we made it work, because again, that's one of the things that we learned at HBCUs. Those are those bonding experiences. It was our quote unquote executive board, and that consisted of 3 females and 1 male. And guess what? All 4 of us was in one room. We had to make
it work. Wow. That's against a whole lot of things nowadays.
Yeah, we had to make it work. Actually, quite honestly, no, because co-ed dorms are a thing now on a lot of HBCUs.
Yeah, but not a co-ed room. Co-ed dorm, yes, but not a co-ed room. I'm just gonna say that out loud.
So we had to make that work. But again, those are those professional organizations that kind of hone your leadership qualities. I was the VP. And again, one of those things that it helped me cultivate was leadership, what my role is in an organization, what types of decision making I'll make in certain boards and things like that. So I definitely want to stress those professional organizations. People don't really think of Greek life as quote unquote professional organizations, but once you join on a graduate level, they're
Right.
they're built up of professionals. Again, they're built up of boards and things like that. And you're also, using that as an opportunity to network. The another thing that you guys might not know about me, as far as extracurricular activities, and I don't want to call this an extracurricular activity. I was a student athlete my first year. I was a cheerleader. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about balance, because Mia, you had mentioned, hey, I worked a whole lot of jobs. I didn't have time for extracurriculars.
Yeah, and I think, not to be the total opposite end of this whole thing, but that happens sometimes with us. I think what happened is that by the time I got to college, I was exhausted. I was exhausted because I was also, not only was I in the FBLA when I was in undergrad, but I was also in the FBLA when I was in high school, and I awarded all through high school when I was in FBLA. We were allowed to join our junior year and then, of course, our senior year. I was an entrepreneur in high school, so I was making money with my own business in high school and then in college. And so when I got to college, I really looked at it like I finally get a little break, and all I want to do is focus on the academics because I was so involved in other things. I was in the choir in high school, and my mother definitely wanted me to be on Nathaniel Carter's choir when I was in college. I joined real quick, and I left real quick too, because I was tired. And I think I'm sure I'm not alone in that mentality. I think that when you get to a certain space in your collegiate life, I was very social. My boyfriend at the time went to Coppin. My cousin went to Towson. I had friends at Del State. Like, we were all over the place. And that was my extracurricular activity, traveling from campus to campus. I could go in anyone's yard and have a good time. And that's where I was. But to your point, Tyann, as I look at it from an adult standpoint, I think I actually did join the YMCA in Morgan, but I had already been volunteering since I was in middle school. And I continued to volunteer all through high school and college. So I still kept a part of my life, but I didn't connect it. And I think to your point that was definitely because I was a commuter student. I had a huge social life on campus, but I picked and choose very strategically what I wanted to be involved with. I didn't care about SGA. I didn't care about any other clubs. I cared about having a good time, making sure that I actually graduated and enjoying the friendships that I created throughout the different college experiences on other campuses. So I think that you make a great point about that, because people don't look at it. It is different when you are living a commuter life versus an on-campus life, because the most I saw on Blount was because you were there. Like,
a lot of the times commuter students' mentality is, I'm here to go to class and then go home or go to work, or I've got something else to do after class. But those that actually live on campus, our campus is our life. Like, I can balance going from class to a marketing society meeting because I know it's on campus. And then I know literally right after that, I can go back to my room. But one thing I want to touch on too is, you mentioned, and this is kind of where we parallel. It's funny how we have these opposite parallels. High school sucked for me. I didn't want to do nothing. I was absolutely not motivated because I was in a place where I wasn't happy.
You didn't want to be.
But when I flipped the switch and went away to college, it was a totally different world. So my freshman year, I joined the cheer squad. I ran another actually extracurricular activity that we don't really think of in that way is campus queens and kings and queens. I was Miss Freshman. I was Miss Freshman. I was a cheerleader, and I was still able to balance my academics as well as be social. So that was one of those things where, again, I'm like, I can make different choices in my life, and let me see what it is that I want to do. And
what you love, what feels good.
I was in a space where I was happy. I could do those things. Now, literally, when I transferred to Morgan, though, the student athlete life wasn't for me anymore. Because I was on a bigger campus, there was more to do. And then there's a difference because when I was at Lincoln, we were a D3 school. It wasn't as rigorous of a program, but we also weren't compensated like at the time Morgan was D2. But the expectation, the competitions, and all of that, I was looking at that. And then, I would have had to cheer through basketball and football season. I wasn't ready for that. So I pulled away from cheering at Morgan, but then I got involved in everything else. One of the best student organizations that I joined, and one of the reasons why I do the work that I do now, is because I joined the student ambassadors. That was the thing that opened up my eyes to admissions. That was the thing that allowed me to represent my school and share the love and look at my experiences and be able to share those with those that are curious about what's going on in my day-to-day. What am I doing? That was my opportunity. And at the time I joined the ambassadors, I wasn't a marketing major. I was an accounting major. But in hindsight, it allowed me to hone my selling skills, which direct path into marketing, sales and marketing. So, but I also had a chance to meet different people, and again, in a sense, give back. And also, I want to talk about that too, giving back. That whole notion of community. The reason why we're here and still doing what it is that we do is a lot of the times HBCUs instilling you to give back, and I volunteered at different for different youth organizations. We had this program called Fame, where it was the Frankfurt and Morgan Exchange, where it was a group of us, no matter our classification, from freshmen all the way up to seniors. We would get on a school bus and we would go to one of the local elementary schools and we would sit down and mentor all of the students. But can I tell you, we had more fun than the kids, because afterwards, after all of the academics were over, we would get out and double dutch with the kids. We would get out and play hand games with the kids. We were letting them have fun. We were letting them know. And guess who used to be out there jump roping in her heels? Because, I was going to come fly anyway. Again, I had to be an example. But at the same time, I was out there, and, I always embrace my inner child. But I was still trying to show them a role model and show them that people like them can go to college and it's not that far away. But we were literally out there having fun. And when I tell you, it wasn't just mostly females, it was males and females, 50-50. They saw us interacting as almost college adults, or even some of us being college adults, and really being able to get back, sit down, reach them, mentor them, give them advice. You know me, I'm a gifter. Give them gifts, show them that they're loved. And that was also one of those experiences where prior to going away to school, I wasn't really one to volunteer and give my time in that manner.
So it was a feel-good moment for you as well. And that's something I think that to speak to it, because we have some who have parents who did go to school and some whose parents did not go to school, and the parents, not only do they reminisce through their time in school if they went to college, but they also try to encourage their kids to get involved. You should do this and you should do that, or you should join this or you should join that. I was on this, I was on that. And one thing I think that parents, I'm going to speak this specifically, Tyann, you make so many really good points about how these particular roles that you were involved in as a student, being involved in different organizations, helped you in your career decision making, or even your trajectory right into the marketing world. Parents, be okay with letting your kids figure that out for themselves. I know it's hard. I know you want to encourage them. I know you want to, and Tyann, you and I've talked about this in your own experience. You want your kids to blossom into this thing that you see for them, but it's still a process for them. Their freshman year, they're trying to figure it out. Sophomore year, they think they got it together. They may blossom into their junior year, and then senior year, they're the most confident thing you've ever seen. And it's because it takes time. It's new to them. So don't be overly encouraging, if that makes sense. Or maybe I'm using the wrong word. Don't be, overzealous is the word I want to use. Don't be overzealous with your student parent, those of you who went to school before, and trying to get them to live the life that you lived. Let them figure it out. You might have been on the drill team, but they want to be on the fashion squad, right? Or you might have been on the fashion squad and they want to be on the chess team, or you might have been on the chess team and they want to be a trainer for the football team. Like, whatever is their niche or their thing that they just want to try out, let them try it out, because to Tyan's point again, that might be what leads them to their career. Some of them, it might even be what leads them to change their major. Hopefully not, especially those junior years, but it could be, because we have to remember that they're entering this space that's supposed to lead them to what they're going to be for the rest of their lives. And how many of us I actually do what I went to school for, but how many of us actually go to school and do the thing that we went to school for? So just have a little grace, have a little mercy with your kids if you were the parent who was involved. And if you're the parent that didn't go to school and you see your child who is involved in a million different things, know that that's okay. Know that that means that they are excited, they're involved, they found a different setting that feels good to them, and they just want to explore, and they're having opportunities that you might not have had until later in life. And so at the age of like 20, 21, 20, 19, 20, 21, that age group, they may be experiencing things that you're just experiencing in your late 30s or 40s, depending on when you had a child. So, just be open. And I'm speaking directly to the parents about this one, because college, I know, is a new thing for you, even if you went to school before, because college is different now. They can join groups and be online. It's just totally different now. These organizations, they're traveling out of the country now way more than they did when we were in school. So it all looks different, and just be open to just having a dialogue with them, but be encouraging if they do or do not decide to get involved. And I'm gonna say it again, I was more socially involved in school than I was in the extracurricular space. But I also was in a different space in high school. So my brain was I was in a whole different space. So everyone's different. I just want to make sure that we point that out for the parents, because Tyan, to your storyline, you speak from a great space for a lot of these college students, I'm sure. You cheered in high school, you got to college, you did it. I don't want to do this anymore. I like it, but I don't like it that much. It ain't paying the bill, so why I got to do? We all have different decisions for why we do what we do. And I guess we could talk about that too. We might want to segue into that, about some of you who go to college and it is an extracurricular activity that happens to pay your tuition that you might not want to do anymore, because that's a whole nother conversation.
And that's
that
real.
Could be addressed. That's very real.
Actually, that's real, because a lot of the times there's pressure coming out of high school from your parents, or even pressure on your own, depending on how you're going to finance your education. Mm-hmm. And so that makes those academic scholarships, a little tantalizing. That makes those athletic scholarships a little tantalizing. That makes those gifted Greek scholarships a little bit more tantalizing. Say one particular Greek organization gave you a specific amount of money to be able to finance your education. So you kind of fit in certain way feel indebted to at least give back in a certain way to that particular organization. So you might want to pledge that. Or you were a student athlete, you came in on a football scholarship or something, and you find out that on a collegiate level, competition is much harder. Them hits are a little bit harder, but you've actually delved into your academics and like that. And you're like, well, hey, I can't balance the two. You joined the band on a band scholarship, but that band schedule is just as rigorous as any other thing, and there's some hard decisions that you have to make with that a lot of the times. And I'm just gonna say, everything that you did in high school And on a collegiate level, they may not be the same. It may have been dull and boring in high school, exciting in college. It may have been exciting in high school, but dull and boring and or no longer appealing to you in college. So these are the decisions that you kind of have to make, and certain things that you have to prioritize. And the word prioritize is what I want to go back to, Mia, when we're talking about balancing all of these extracurricular activities. Like I said, at one particular time, yes, I was a student athlete. I was in, campus court and all of that. That was one different world. But when I came to a larger university, again, the volunteering came up, the student ambassadors came up, and I like to socialize. Listen, I was able to balance it all. But prioritization. And don't be that. If you can be it, but you don't have to be, and don't feel that pressure to be that super duper overachiever, because what we are trying to avoid is burnout.
Right.
And so again, prioritize things, know your limits, on a lot of things, but sometimes you got to try out a few things. But the beauty of it all is making sure that the organization that you're joining, they probably only meet maybe once a month or bi-weekly or however. So you may be able to balance some things, but know that there's still opportunities to branch out and test the waters in different things. You mentioned the fashion troupe. Ours was absolutely chic. They met sparingly through the year, but when it was fashion show time, it was on. It was on. So again, there's so many different types of organizations. Things that you probably never heard of, but they're available for you. But you also you can join some things and then you can step back. You don't also have to join as leadership. You can just be a member.
Just be a member. Mm-hmm.
You can just be a member. So there are so many things that you can do, but like I said, that key word is balance and prioritization. But I will say this: one of the key things in joining organizations that you don't really know that you're doing is networking.
Absolutely.
And that's one of those skills that you're going to take beyond. I utilize it I use my network in some capacity almost every day, and have been for the last amount of years. So it allows you to meet different people. Like my marketing society friends probably were so totally different from my ambassador friends. Some of my ambassador friends were my school of business friends. My school of business friends and my social work friends may not have been in the same spaces and places, but we met up when we were at Fame. So again, it's that it allows you to be able to be and experience different people from different circles. And you learn from them too. You learn different skills from what it is that they're majoring in. So again, if you can balance it, do it. But I also got to speak up for my introverts here. Some people may feel that they're a little socially awkward or a little overwhelmed by a lot of people. Guess what? There's an organization for that. There's still book clubs. Right now, there are organizations on campus that support those that are introverted. So you can find an organization for you. You can find your tribe. You can find your community. But I do want to stress those clubs that literally, if you are very passionate about, your career path and where you're going to go, make sure you join one of those academic clubs. So again, you're getting the experience from what to expect when you are actually going into your career path. If you're a broadcast professional, make sure you join, one of the associations for broadcast professionals, because you guys can learn things. And another benefit that I had from the Marketing Society, not only did we get involved in the AMA, these were more travel opportunities. I remember going to an HBCU business conference at Virginia Union. Again, another road trip. We kind of went down there and we got to meet other HBCU business students from all up and down the Eastern Seaboard. And we had a good time. And so again, opportunities to network, remember some people from different spaces and places, get on other campuses. And Mia, you did that from a social perspective, but get on other campuses and, again, different experiences, talk about it, get your face out there, because you never know, that could be somebody that's on the other end of reading your resume and interviewing you and hiring you.
Right.
So another way to cultivate these relationships that benefit you in the realm of networking.
And I think that is a good wrap right there. Extracurricular activities, something that you should at least consider, think about, toggle back and forth with, talk to a couple of friends about. If your friends don't do it, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. But as we come back to you as your HBCU aunties and we look at life in retrospect, consider it. Consider it. And if you don't end up joining an extracurricular, do something different. Go into, I don't remember, they used to think I was a science major because I was inside of the science building so much, but Makita was an engineering major. So my best friend, my friends were, so I just kind of would go to other buildings. Like, you just get out there and network in different areas, because, your net worth is really your network, and you hear it, you might not hear it yet at your age group, but it definitely is. How you move about in society has everything to do with how you prepare yourself. Besides the academia, it's just really, really, really important to understand how you sometimes have to push yourself to go into spaces that are uncomfortable. And as you grow older, you'll understand. And I'm sure parents say this to their kids all the time, and they might not. But those uncomfortable moments are what prepare you for the next thing. So again, extracurricular activities. Make sure you find your tribe in a different capacity. You found your tribe one time. You picked that school that you attend. Find another sub-tribe within that tribe. Because the first thing people are going to ask you is, what school did you go to? What was your major? Oh, were you on this team? Did you do this? And these are all the things that help people find out more about you and you about them, and introduces you into the worlds of the TikToks and the Instagrams and the LinkedIns and all these other things that you hop on. You hop on for those reasons, because of your network. So this is Mia and Tyon, your HBCU aunties, coming to you from the Real World University. Hope you guys enjoy. Stay tuned for more wonderful conversation. Tell your friend, tell a friend, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your sisters, tell your aunties at the HBCU.
Like, follow, share.
Like, follow, share. There we go. Like, follow, share. And we're out. Deuces.